Seraphim17 once again. This is my Metro Last Light Ranger Hardcore difficulty video walkthrough. This is chapter 25 and it's entitled Depot. So whenever I hear that word, it reminds me of two things. One of them is the bus depot, where my secondary school bus always used to end up because they couldn't drive them for shit and all they did was break down. And then the second one is GoldenEye, because back on the N64 there was a level called Depot on GoldenEye, and it was a really interesting one. It was difficult too, because I was a child and I was bad at games, and I probably had a very, I was dumb. And I realised that as I get older that I was really fucking dumb, and a lot of the problems that I had were probably me. But this mission's interesting, because you meet another batch of Rangers, which is these fellas right now. And what happens here is, it's a little bit of a hub that allows you to back up on your ammo, to back up on your weapons and stuff, to just get restocked and get ready for the tasks ahead. But then there's the biggest rooms of dudes you've ever seen. Like, there's a full train cart room filled with enemies, and then past that there's another one filled with enemies. There's 3 or 4 rooms where you're literally just delving really deep into either combat heavy situations or stealth heavy situations, and I'm going to try my best to get through without too much hassle. And the thing with this is, even if you get spotted, if you know where the checkpoints are and you know where the bridges to the next sections are, you can just run. Like, you get spotted at the last possible instant, run. Hit the door, you'll be fine. But my strategy involves coming down here. So I sit behind these steps. I don't know how this guy doesn't see me, but I'm so glad that he doesn't, because it makes this much, much easier. So I then progress to sneak up to this big fat dude. And the stealth on this game works so well that I can literally kiss his beard and he doesn't do shit. But instead I punch him in the face, just in case. And then I continue on to this. When you get to the back of this room, your only fear is the searchlights that they've got. Every so often they will spot you and they will light you up a little bit, but for the most you should be okay. Just pay attention to your watch. If your watch goes blue, shit's kicking off. If it stays fine, then you'll have no issue whatsoever. And then once you get to this door here, if anybody sees you, because you go completely bright here, if anybody notices you, just bomb it. Just stand up, just run, you'll hit a checkpoint, and all you'll have to do is reload the checkpoint if you get yourself into some problems. But this door is your checkpoint. Because it's a canned animation, it tells you that it's probably going to despawn everything in the previous room, so you should be okay. But I remember going back through this game, getting the collectibles, and some of them, like, how the hell were you supposed to find them? And I'll never understand some games when it's like that. Some of them were easy, don't get me wrong, but there are certain collectibles where it makes me wonder who found them, or if it was a dev who found them and put the first video up for other people to find them, because it just seems so unlikely. And I don't know if you ever played Darkness 1 back in the day. There was one on top of a building, like the awning of a big building, and you had to use the serpent, the serpent ability when you went into the little wiggly guy. And you had to go all the way up this wall, climb along this pipe, all the way around this corner, over this hedge, up this fence, back to Blackpool, come back from Blackpool, and then you found it. And it's just one of those moments where, unless you were using that ability in every feasible place of this game because you were so in love with the darkness that you couldn't help but spend every waking instance of your life playing it, how the hell could you find that? And sure, serendipity plays a part. I did on, I think it was Sam's DLC on Metal Gear Rising. I was jumping on pipes thinking I was breaking the game, and I found a collectible, and I was kind of like, Jesus Christ, they put something up here, wow. Like, the amount of people that aren't going to think you can get up there is profound, and maybe that's a good collectible, but to me it just makes me think, how would you ever find this? and nowadays games have these systems that allow you to find collectibles. You get maps, you get sensors, you get sonar, you get all sorts of strange things that I'm a really big fan of. I think it's a good component to add. But then every so often, a game comes along and it doesn't have that. And you're kind of like, come on guys, this is the fucking 21st century now, this is 2013. Give me a way to find the damn collectibles. Don't just expect me to scour every inch of your game with your unskippable cutscenes and your mandatory slow-walking dialogue sections. It's just really strange. But this next room coming up is dangerous. It's probably the toughest room so far because it's a lot of dudes on alert. And if you get here after already being seen, they're going to know you're coming, and it makes it even more difficult. But luckily enough, I think I do it okay on this run, and this level is kind of small, so you could feasibly just restart it if you're having issue. And the game is dark, and I've been thinking about doing a Machine for Pigs guide, but A, I'm going to have to drop quality, because I can't record in 60 frames per second, and I refuse to recording anything less when I'm doing PC. And B, that game is so dark, it's obnoxious, it's so dark. And a lot of people who are probably big Amnesia fans are like, well, it's supposed to be dark because it's scary. It's like, no, it's not scary. The darkness is the least scary part. The scary part is when you put yourself in the shoes of the character and you're anticipating what's coming. It's the anticipation where the fear is, not the darkness. The darkness is just the thing that pisses you off. And when you do change gamma, it makes the game look a little jazzy. And I don't know. I'm curious as to what I'm going to do, because like lowering the quality. I watched a PewDiePie video the other day, even though I really didn't want to, but I was in a big Amnesia and Machine for Pigs mood, so I thought I'll put one of his videos on. It had 2 million views. How can it not be good? Like 2 million fucking views. Is China wrong? I don't get it. But he started playing, and the first thing I noticed is his game looked like shit. It looked like ass. It looked like a PlayStation game. The textures were awful. It was muddy. It was just bland as tits. And the only thing I could think of is he's turned the performance down so we can play it. And it really took away from the game, because the game looks lovely and it looked horrible. So what I was doing at the time is something I do a lot. I was editing, and I have things on in the background. This is another stealth room, by the way. This one's a little finicky. But I was listening to him while I was playing, and I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. He screamed for about 20 minutes at the first loud noise. And it wasn't a quiet scream. Like, just wow. Just really wow. And there aren't words. There just aren't words. I don't understand what he's doing any different to a million other people on YouTube. Yet, it's really working. Does the world love Swedish people? Is there a Swede advantage? You know, is it the old Aryan race coming back to haunt us? I have no idea, but I don't understand it. And this is not me insulting the guy, because if you like it, then props to you, because 11 million people can't be wrong. However, I am. I don't get it. But once you've got through here, folks, there's a sequence in this next room. If you want to get the good ending, you have to do the good choice, because it'll just kind of screw you out. And I was doing all the good choices to get the good ending, and I still got the bad ending. So you want to take your time and be thorough, or you're going to have a bad time. So thank you for watching anyhow. I hope the guide's helping, and you take care.